right, so now we get to have another panel. We are going to be talking about the future of open houses, and I'm lucky enough to be sitting on the couch amongst friends. So let's welcome Ms. Melissa Kwan from Spacio, Aaron Kardell from HomeSpotter, and Nick Quay from Coldwell Banker. Welcome.
You just sit anywhere?
Yeah, have it. Have a seat.
Cool.
Snuggle up. And we need like little blankets and some coffees.
Yes. Perfect.
All righty. So we're talking open houses, right? And you guys all are approaching this in a different way. So let's start for some level setting so that there's some context about your answering. What are you doing?
My company, you mean?
Yes, with the open houses, right? You're digitizing.
Yeah, we're automating open houses for agents from lead capture to follow up. So we're replacing the traditional pen and paper with an iPad or an Android tablet or just a device of your choice.
Yes.
Just completely automating that lead capture, and we sit on top of different CRMs that you can automatically sync your leads into for follow up.
Sounds good.
I'm Aaron Kardell with HomeSpotter. We've got a product called Boost that basically automates the promotion of open houses on Facebook, Instagram, and across the web. And we're now doing this on Ways too, as yet another way to get people to your open house.
Sweet. Nick?
And my name is Nick Quay from Coldwell Banker in Miami Beach. Hey, Miami. And I've been doing things with open houses using 3D technology. So what I do is I create these 24-hour-a-day user-controlled virtual tours. And I also do a lot of things with 360. So it's able to bring people all over the world into the houses at their own convenience.
Sweet. So, while we're talking open houses, like it's one of those topics that seems to be polarizing, right? People love open houses or they hate them, right? So what is a modern open house going to look like? And are we solving any of those reasons why people hate doing them? You want to take that? You were like, I don't know.
You want me to jump in?
Yeah, go for it, Nick.
So I think one of the things modern that's happening is, especially with their companies and the integration of all these other new tech options that we have, is, with mine, Miami, it's a lot of foreign nationals, probably 80% in a lot of our markets, up to 90% in South Beach. So the way that I'm able to modernize that is to bring people 24 hours a day into our open houses. So not only do we have the open house there on the Sunday, we have the cookies, we have the pay outside, whatever it is, but all those other days where our international and national buyer pool that can't get there, they're still doing open houses in there. So I think that, and then integrating it with these other things that track data and enable you to really see valuable metrics, it gives you conversation points with the buyers to justify the value that you're asking for the home. And in a place like Miami, where we have a lot longer days on market, it gives me talking points through the technology to go back to the seller and say, listen, we might need to have a price reduction conversation here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of ways that open houses are being modernized. I think from an agent perspective, there's so much data out there that agents can really capitalize and have a more meaningful conversation with people that are coming in the door. So if somebody comes in the door, enters their info in a tool like Spacio, by the time that consumer is walking out, the agent has a little bit more information at their fingertips about their background.
Yeah, so let's expand on that, because that's actually kind of an interesting thing. So as before, it was sort of like a blind process, and now it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, so I think the future of open houses is really about the experience that not just the agent is creating, but also in their own workflow, right? So previously, it's really just a piece of paper that you can sign, you might not sign, and there's no experience in that, which is so bizarre, because I think agents spend a lot of time making their house look nice, smell nice, advertising it, and then as soon as somebody comes in, you hand over a piece of paper. And that's not the experience that really fits, what they're selling. So I think, while, you're greeting them maybe with an iPad, but on the data front, I mean, a thing that we do is we verify the contact, we pull all their social data. So to be able to have a bit of
On the fly?
On the fly, yeah. So if you have a little bit of information, somebody signs in, they're walking around, their LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, where they've traveled, where they like to eat, things like that. You can use that data to make more meaningful conversations, but with what Nick's doing with virtual tours, like there can be a marriage between the physical and the virtual, right? So right now, you see a lot of open houses, maybe 10 on the weekend the market's hot. You don't remember what you've seen, and a picture is a picture. But what if I included that virtual tour in the follow-up email?
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that's how you stand out, and it's really using different pieces of technology to drive you there, to welcome you, and then to help you remember what you've seen. I think that whole package is really the future of open houses.
Like taking in your technology and your product and giving that giveaway, the take home, which is we saw the house physically, now I can show it to my wife, I can show it to my son, the grandparents, all the other decision makers who might live all over the world.
Yeah.
Only one person has to physically go, get registered in yours. I mean, I think it's the coolest thing in the world.
Well, and that's when you're house hunting too. I mean, I just went through this process. Like I couldn't remember one house from the next, and I was mixing houses and remembering things wrong. And so this is also just a great way for the buyers to just keep their heads straight, right?
Yeah.
And if not everybody's doing it, right, then you're the one that stands out or the two that stand out.
100%. So let's talk about security in open houses, right? Because that seems to be one of the hot button issues with open houses in general. Security risk to the agent, security risk like property theft, all of those. So what does that look like in a modern open house?
I mean, one of the things that we've been talking about and really exploring is having a security feature within our mobile app. It's been asked for, whether it's really easy way to notify an emergency contact or text an emergency contact. I think people think about that now really more than ever.
Yeah.
And there's, companies that verify, licenses and things like that we've been looking at, and it's definitely more of a concern, and it's something that we want to incorporate as well.
Yeah, that's any rules or any stories from the road about being in an open house, or where do you see that going?
Safety and security is always a big concern.
Yeah.
Whether it's an agent, as listing agents, it's our job to find buyers and show houses and go out and find people. One of the scariest things that a lot of people face all over the world, especially in the bigger cities, I feel sometimes, is you have these people that are calling you that you've never met. You don't know who they are. They give you a name. You have their phone number. You don't know if it's their real phone number. You don't know if it's their real name. You really don't know who you're meeting. So safety and security is a big concern. One of the things that I do, especially in certain areas, why I would be fearful sometimes, people are requesting 8 o'clock at night showings, but they're not willing to work with me and see it on the weekend, but they have to see it tonight only, and it's text. They won't talk to me. They won't video conference me. Creates a problem. So what I like to do is I utilize the 3D technology to send them a link to say, hey, listen, I want you to walk through the house right now. I send them a link. I say, what do you think?
Brilliant idea.
Yeah. So then I can let them know I have open houses this weekend, whatever it is, because it's a big deal. And then there's other companies that I see now, facial recognition, the same thing you see at airports and casinos. I don't know how far the technology is for us to do it on the fly, and I also don't know how many people will be comfortable at an open house. Hold on a second, what's your name? But the technology is going there, and I feel like with the right integration, it could be your company with other companies that are going back to some security firm, data analytics, data points in the face. We need it. As a business and as an industry, we really need to be able to up our safety and security again, because it's a big problem, I think.
Yeah, it is. And so people are at the open house. You have this access now to information so that you can really have like an intimate conversation with, I saw, it's a great way, it's a conversation starter. After they walk out the door, the folks that may or may not have been spoken to, we have information now about them. What are we doing with that? Aaron, do you want to address that?
So information.
Give contact names,
Yeah. So there's plenty of ways now with both lead qualification and just follow up. And so once you've got that information, really putting that into other tools, doing whether it's drip campaigns, digital advertising after the fact, really driving that brand recognition. I can't think of any more hyper-local way to generate leads than at an open house, but it really is all about what you do with that data after the fact.
Yeah, and we automatically could feed it into a digital campaign, of an agent's choice. And a lot of these platforms are really built on advertising against that email address.
Yep.
Right, so if you're spending 2 to 4 hours on a weekend already out there really working your contacts, you really should be doing something with those contacts. And there's companies that we see that do it on an enterprise level. And then agents that kind of buy their own campaigns. But as Aaron said, like there just really isn't a better way to market your sort of sphere of influence based on an email address. And be able to bridge, your offline marketing activities to their online browsing behavior.
Well, and I think it's really important because a good percentage of those open house visitors are probably the neighbors around the street, and if now they're seeing ads like, oh, I went to that agent's open house, they're everywhere, hopefully that drives that when they're looking to list, they're thinking about you.
Yeah.
I think one of the things for me, and something I'm focusing on a lot more this year, is all the dynamic retargeting with all the new Facebook things that have come out. So we use her product to get us into the house. Everybody knows, we know who was there already. You can have that listing, follow them around on the internet. Yeah. And one of the cool things is, let's say the house is vacant and it's empty. So you can take a product like Box Brownie that does CGI enhancements. They can digitally stage the home. So let's say I do my open house, it was empty, but I didn't get any offers that weekend. Well, the next week, I'm gonna go to one of those websites and I'm gonna have it digitally staged. I could choose Mediterranean furniture, I could choose modern, very low price points. Send that through her system that already has contact, add that into the drips, send them a link to the 3D virtual tour, and they're seeing the house with furniture in it then, to scale. So I feel like taking advantage of these opportunities and the technology, as cheap as it is, tying that in and hitting them again, dynamically retargeting them on Facebook, hitting them back, giving them a call. Hey, I know you saw it empty. Here's what it looks like with Mediterranean furniture. Here's what a little girl's room will look like with the princess bed and pink walls. That's going to create an emotional bond, potentially, with that buyer in that house. That's what's going to help you get that sale.
Is that something you can do on the fly, like at the house itself?
Oh,
because that would make a really
digital staging?
Yeah. I mean, that would make a really great conversation piece there.
There's a website that's 24-hour turnaround. It's boxbrownie.com. They do all the digital enhancement stuff. What I'm doing now is I'll take those things, make a poster. So you can take a poster of that child's room. It could be a boy's room. It could be a football room. It doesn't matter. It's a talking point. So you put these around the house and an empty house. Then you follow up with that in the email and the social media campaigns. It takes it to a whole other level.
And it's almost like the client that will go through that process, say they're there, like they're the ones that are really interested. They're the ones that you want to work with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when we think about the future of open houses, it's not like a Jetsons sort of story, right? It's really more about using the tools so that you can reincorporate it so that you're taking that moment where someone's there with you and extending it longer. And it's like another conversation starter in a lot of ways.
It's also great for the neighbors. I mean, think about this. If the neighbors are coming into those open houses, and you have so many different things going on, so many talking points, for me, it's opening up my buyer pool 10 times.
Yes.
And you want to talk about like time return. A lot of realtors, we have this, oh, I need to make $100 an hour. I need to make $1,000 an hour. Well, think about if you're able to leverage this technology, right? And an example for me last year, I had a listing. The owner was in Brazil. I did a 3D virtual tour. It took me probably, including my listing presentation, I was in for 2 hours. I showed the property once. I did over 800 showings online, 3D virtual tours.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I had a few phone calls. I was in it for about 4 hours. I double-ended the deal. Sight unseen offer from a gentleman from Israel, his daughter from France. She was going to live in the property. So 3 different countries using VR and a couple of video calls. I double-ended the deal, and I spent about 4 hours on that listing. Think about that. I mean, mind-boggling how we're able to take all that time. No safety security concerns.
Yeah.
Don't have to inconvenience anybody. And these people all over the world can look at it at their convenience and make an offer and buy the house. I think it's great.
That's amazing. Do you guys have any tricks in terms of getting people in the door, in terms of like the pre-marketing for the future of open houses?
That would be Aaron's specialty.
Yeah, I mean, I think, there's strength in numbers. So we're seeing a number of companies that might choose one weekend a month that they're really going to have, they might call it a Facebook extravaganza or a mega open house. And they really do a lot of promotion. Because it's a coordinated effort by the company, they might tie some kind of an offer to it that they have an iPad giveaway or something else that across all of these open houses, the actual cost of that giveaway isn't that great. They can spread it out, but whether it's that advertising on Facebook or ways, these are all ways to drive people to those open houses.
Yeah, so we have a number of brokerages that will do those kind of, whatever they call it. They can call it an event, but it happens once a month. It gives the brokerage a reason to market, gets their agents out there, gets them excited. They give away an iPad to an agent and a lucky visitor. And it becomes this sort of carnival type event. And we see just on the back end that a company could have their leads increase about 400% just for that one weekend because people are excited to go out there, and they supplement the marketing and things like that. So, and it's a cheap way. You give away an iPad, it's $600.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick, the one tip that the audience should be thinking about for open houses while we wrap up.
So for open houses?
Yep.
So a lot of people are doing Facebook Live. I think that's a really good way if you're doing sphere marketing. For local marketing, get local community people involved, whether it's the local paella company, the local flower shop. Get other people to promote you and promote them. It doesn't cost us anything to promote people on Facebook, but when you do it, you create a sense of community. Everybody loves you. People cannot wait to be on my Best in Miami show. And it's people basically giving me free dinners, come out on our dragon boat today, let's watch you paddleboarding, whatever it is, because I promote them, they promote me. And you can do the same thing for open houses.
Awesome. Aaron, the one tip they need to take back with them?
They need to remember who's there, and they need to have the data on that, so they should buy Spacio.
That's an easy one, right? How about you?
I think they need to have a good attitude going in, right? And that's everything. I did open houses for 3 years, and it sucks. Your friends are going for brunches and you're packing up your signs to go to an open house, and it's easy to let that get you down. But that also is contagious. That energy is contagious. It goes to the customer. So no matter what happens, have a great attitude going in. Feel good about it. You're spending a few hours there, so just make sure you sign everybody up and follow up after.
I love it. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Yeah, Nick?
Yeah, really short.
Yeah.
So this is one of the cameras I use for 360. What I want to tell everybody, try it. There are cameras as low as $200.
I thought that was like a magic wand, no?
So yeah.
It's very Dumbledore-esque.
It's my walking stick.
I know, I'm like.
But it also does 360. It's totally immersive. So promote your listings with these. You can get the ones that clip on your phone. They're $125 on Amazon. The other ones are $200. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on a big 3D camera like I have. But if you have the budget, utilize it, try it, get out there and do it, turn the cameras on and go.
Awesome.
And I think that's the best advice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Molly.
Bye, guys.
All right.
All righty. Open houses. Oh, thank you.